We are back with another series here in Whiteboard Wednesday. I guess I should say on Whiteboard Wednesday. And this is one of my favorite topics, artful discovery. And discovery is the part of the sales process which I think really has the potential to add the most value for a salesperson. And discovery is the part of the process where we are seeking to understand need, the prospect's need. We are seeking to understand the prospect's buying process, which is, and that'll be one of the topics here, one of the presentations. It's more than just who's the decision maker. So there's a couple components there. And then finally, what we're trying to understand, and possibly most importantly, is what is the impact that the client, that the prospect is hoping to attain? What is the impact from a return standpoint that will justify the expense, justify the investment, right? So need, buying process, and impact are the three touchstones, if you will, of artful discovery. Really, it all adds up to answering the question, and those of you who have been through various kinds of sales training, why? Why would they buy? Right? In discovery, we are trying to move away from, we are trying to abstract or extract emotion. Buying, I should say, is not an emotional construct. Fundamentally, interest and enthusiasm and excitement are pretty poor indicators of buying process. So a lot of times when I'm coaching sales professionals, they're really drawn to these elements because they feel good in the sales process, but they really don't do anything in terms of serving us to move the deal forward. So today we're just going to talk conceptually about how we have conversations with our prospects, how we get to this information overall. Because what folks tell me, and this is pretty common, is that there's always a bit of a push, a pull, trying to get information, right? In a sales process, the buyer wants to know how we can help them. We want to understand who they are, what they need, what they're looking to accomplish, ideally so that we can present a solution that actually meets their needs. And they want to hear about the solution. We want to understand their problem if we're doing this well. So I think about the whole challenge here very much as the concept of balance, right? In the questioning process, how do we ensure that we stay in balance with respect to information that we need and information that they need? The one fact I can tell you with absolute certainty is that the old model, the old approach to selling, where we contact the prospect, we pitch our product, and then we ask them for money, really is pretty dysfunctional in this day and age. It doesn't set you up well for success. So let's just talk about, on a high level, the kinds of information we're going after here. Really, this is all about the why they're going to buy. Even buying process. Buying process, again, is not about the decision maker. It's about the economics of the deal, how they go about investing internally, how they go about building a consensus to make an investment, etc. So really, we're going to divide the sales process, if you will, into two buckets. On the left, we're going to put this concept of why, which really is what we care most about, right? We understand our product, we know it works, we know our service is going to help them. So in order to sell effectively, we really have to understand the why this is going to matter for them. Over on the other end, the prospect tends to be fixated on the how. How does this work? How does it integrate? Does it have this feature or functionality? How does it stack up against competitors? All important questions, but how many times have you been part of a sales process where we've solved for how it's going to work, how they're going to pay for it, how it's going to be implemented, etc., and then the deal dies? I think it was the Harvard Business Review came out with a study that said somewhere around 60 or 70% of all deals end not in a loss but in no decision. And that inertia, that death of a deal, really comes from the fact that companies who figure out how they're going to purchase something, how a particular solution is going to work, without understanding the why, will eventually pull up short. They won't spend the money, right? We only spend money when we understand why we need to spend that money, why we need to do it. So, a couple other thoughts here. On the why side of the equation, this is going to be questions we ask, right? We ask, right? And this part of the equation is all about what things that they are telling us, right, or finding out. Things on the how side really represent questions that they ask. They ask us, how does this work? They bring their technical people in, they bring their finance people, et cetera, et cetera. And this is about things that they are asking and we are telling. And you've heard the expression, selling ain't telling, or I should say, telling ain't selling. And really that's what this is all about. If you're having a conversation about how our process works, how our solution works, how our technology is better than our competitors, that is a how question. That is us doing the talking, and that's not getting at the why. So think about each of these, little buckets. Let me try a different color here. Think about each of these little buckets on our scale here as things that we put little pebbles of information in, right? That drive, the weight downward, right? When I start to load up my why question bucket, that's really good for me because I start to understand the economics of the deal, the impact, potential ROI, what the problems they're trying to solve, etc. However, it's very unlikely in a discovery process that you're going to get away with 100% me asking you why you want to do this, why this matters, why it would help your business conversation. So on the other end, right, the prospect's going to fill up their bucket and create some more weight over here. So in essence, when I'm coaching sales folks, one of the things they're asking me is, how do you manage the conversation? Because we need to understand this, but they want to drive us to a proposal, a demo, a presentation, all those things that are going to give them insight into how. And my coaching is pretty simple, and that is, don't concern yourself so much with getting all the information before you answer any of their questions. That sure would be nice, but it's pretty unrealistic. Think about it as a balance, and one of the things you can do is to talk with your client up front about this context. You might say something like, as we engage in this process to understand if my solution is something that's going to work for your business, it's been my experience that there's a push and pull between information you need, how my solution works, how it fits in your environment, how I've helped others, and information I need. Why is this going to help your business? How are you really going to go about making the decision internally? I know it's a how question, but really it goes to the why. And most importantly, what's the business impact that this is going to have on your business, on your company, on your process, how you do things? So understand that there's going to be a balance. I'll make one more note here, and that is you need to account for the fact that information, right, which is really what these little granules are, information nuggets, are not all created equal. There's the concept of quantity, right, how much information we gather, how many different pieces of information do we know about their business process, their sales cycle, their marketing cycle, all this stuff. But almost more importantly, I want you to think about the depth of information, the weight of information. Information that has a lot of depth or weight has a lot of meaning. So there are heavy and deep answers to questions, and there are very high-level answers to questions. So be conscious of the depth of the knowledge that you're acquiring. I coach a lot of sales folks who come back with lots of information pieces, but when you probe further and try to get details, those bits of information are pretty lightweight. The topic of our next conversation will actually be this concept of depth and weight of information. So be sure to check that out. That'll be part 2. Hope this makes some good sense and helps you in your selling efforts. And as always, feel free to leave comments and look forward to seeing you again.